Hello all. So I thought I would start off our journey. I wanted to talk to you about something that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and this is again on YouTube. But I wanted to talk to you today about what is the best app that you can use to make money in the food delivery gig apps, which is DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub. I'm going to mention, but not really, Postmates, and the reason I'm not going to is because Uber bought Postmates, and they're going to be, in 2021, it looks like they might be integrating Postmates into the Uber Eats platform. So as of this time, you can actually still get Postmates, but it's likely going to go away. So I wanted to talk to you and kind of demystify what is the best app that you can work for. If you hear somebody on YouTube tell you that DoorDash is the best one, you have to go with DoorDash, or Uber Eats is the best one, you have to go with Uber Eats, or GrubHub is the best one, you have to go with GrubHub, I'm going to ask you to not listen to them. And the reason I'm going to ask you to not listen to them is, although a specific and a particular app might be good in their area, that doesn't mean it's good in your area. For instance, in my area, I get a lot of requests and a lot of orders from DoorDash. They send me a lot of stuff, and I can make good money on DoorDash. However, Uber Eats will send me higher paying dashes for the same amount of miles as DoorDash does. If you'll remember back to my first video, I said I averaged just over $9 a delivery on DoorDash. On Uber Eats, that is actually over $16 per delivery that I average. So in your area, DoorDash might be the best one for you to use. Uber Eats might be the best one for you to use, or GrubHub might be the best one for you to use. And my suggestion to you when it comes to deciding which one is the best is you got to get out there and try it. You got to get out there and figure it out, and you got to get out in your market and see which one is the best. You got to understand that DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub, they are businesses, and they market and advertise differently in different marketplaces. DoorDash was started in San Diego, I believe, either San Diego or San Francisco, and they are huge out there. They are probably the top app in that specific area. And if you look at my marketplace, Uber has done a very good job of marketing, and DoorDash has done a good job of marketing, and GrubHub has. So all three of them will send me orders when I have them on. The suggestion I have for you, though, is on top of getting out there and figuring out which one is the best, is to also get out there and figure out which ones that you can use together to make the most money. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about multi-apping. Don't want to get into it too much in this first video, but once you know what you're doing on the apps, it is best if you run more than one app at a time, and the reason is this. As I said, Uber Eats is my cash cow. If I could use Uber Eats all the time, I would. However, there are times when Uber Eats is slow, and there's not a lot of people that are ordering Uber Eats, so I have to rely on GrubHub and DoorDash to fill in those gaps. My goal is to make the most dollars per hour. If Uber is not sending me something, then I have to rely on DoorDash and GrubHub to fill in those gaps. If Uber is hitting, I know I'm going to make a lot of money, I know I'm going to make a lot per hour, and I know I can just rely on Uber to give me my income for that day. That doesn't happen very often where I can use one app and make money all day, because there are different people ordering on different platforms all the time. So typically what I do is I typically turn on Uber Eats, and I will kind of see what's happening in my area with them. And at the same time, I'm going to turn on DoorDash too, because as I said, I get a lot more orders from DoorDash, so I will turn on DoorDash and I will take short, quick runs for DoorDash while I'm waiting on something to hit for Uber Eats. If Uber Eats is completely dead, I will run DoorDash and GrubHub so that I can keep myself busy, and GrubHub pays me a little bit better than DoorDash, so I'll take a GrubHub order before I will take a DoorDash order typically. So it's really important that you get on each app. I'm not going to put them in my description as far as my referral link because I don't want to do that. I know a lot of YouTubers do, but there's questions on how you refer people and if it's legitimate to refer them. So using like YouTube, so I'm not going to put it on here, but I will put a link to sign up for DoorDash and to sign up for Uber Eats and to sign up for GrubHub, so you guys will have it. So there's really two ways that you can get out there and see which one works best in your area. The first way is I started with DoorDash, Uber Eats, and it took me about 4 months to get on to GrubHub, so I was doing Uber Eats and DoorDash exclusively for the first 4 months. What I did personally is I ran each of the apps and I learned where the good orders came from and where the consistent orders came from on each one. And then I started migrating both of them together after I knew which ones worked and which ones were the best ones in the area in my city. Keep in mind that the city I work in, which is Fort Wayne, Indiana, is actually a huge marketplace. It's literally like a huge circle. There's a lot of larger cities, like I know that Pittsburgh, that your driver Mike is on. I know that San Diego and like LA and New York, they actually segment each city into down to little specific parts because each of those parts are busy enough to keep a driver busy. So what you need to do is you need to get on each one, learn where the hot spots are, and learn which apps will give you the good orders in what areas. And then what you can do is you can find common areas that you know that you can get orders from either Uber or GrubHub and DoorDash, so that you know what the best spot for you to go in to. So when you are starting on the apps, do each one for a couple of weeks just so you can kind of get a lay of the land with each one, and so you can learn where the good spots are for each of those apps, and then start migrating them together so that you can see where the good spots are overall, that you can get the most chance of getting orders. And understand too that it really depends on the day. Typically you're going to find that Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays are going to be your huge money days, and this is because people get paid on Fridays, and a lot of times they're at home, and on the weekends they want to order out. And then usually Mondays and Tuesdays in my area anyway are going to be a little bit slower, and I'll start seeing an uptick on Wednesday, Thursday, and then it really ramps up on Friday for me. So take the time to learn which app works best in your area and which one offers you the best pay per hour, and use that one exclusively, and then use the other one as a backup to fill in when you're not busy on it. I've heard of DoorDash in Indianapolis. I've heard that you can get up to $20 per order additional because they are so busy down there that they pay a really good bonus for each delivery at certain times. Same thing is true with Uber Eats. I've heard that Uber Eats is really good in some areas, and they will pay you a bonus on each delivery. But to understand which one works best in your marketplace, you've really got to go out there and do the research on your own, and that just takes you going out there and hitting the ground running and starting to learn which ones work best for you. The second way that you can do it, and something that I did all the time when I was first starting, is when I am out dashing, whether it's on Uber Eats or DoorDash, I will consistently run into other people that are doing it. When I'm waiting on a bag of food, I will stand there next to another dasher and I'll talk to them. I'll say, hey, how is this area? You know, is this a good area to dash in? What's the best spots to go in this town? And you can really figure out what the good areas are by the people that have worked in there longer than you have. So use their experience and don't be afraid to talk to them and learn from their experience so that it cuts down on your learning curve and learning time. So make sure that you're talking to other dashers that you bump into out there, because I did that when I first began, and I still do that today, but it's the opposite side because I know my territory very well. So I am constantly talking to newer dashers, and they always ask me, well, where are the best spots to go? And I help them out and tell them, you ought to go here if you want to make good money in this restaurant, in this area. And I'm very open to sharing, because there's plenty to be had by everybody out there. So last thing I really want to talk about is hotspots. Hotspots are a good place to start when you're first beginning on the different apps. Each app will tell you where the quote-unquote hotspots are to go out to. Now, keep in mind that when they say a hotspot, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make the most money. That just happens to be where the most orders are coming in. So, for instance, when I get into a hotspot with DoorDash, yeah, there are a ton of orders that are coming in, but sometimes I'll decline 90 to 95% of those orders because they're not paying the correct dollars or the miles are too long. So just because it says that it's a hotspot on DoorDash or Uber Eats or GrubHub doesn't necessarily mean that's where you're going to make the most money. So go to those hotspots so you can start learning how to use the apps. Go to those hotspots so you can start learning more about your marketplace. But at the same time, keep your eye out for your own hotspots where you know that you can get the best paying orders and the lowest the lowest amount of miles, so that you can be the most effective while you're out there. I don't ever use the hotspots on the app when I go out now, because in my area I know the key areas that I need to go into that have the right restaurants, that also have the right neighborhoods that are going to get me the right orders to make me the most money. So take some time when you're first beginning to learn your marketplace, and take the time to understand how your marketplace works so that you can make the most money there. You'll find out what the best app is. You'll find out where the best orders come from. You'll find out where the most money comes from, and you'll also find out where the least amount of miles to get those dollars come from. So if you go out and you start researching your marketplace while you're learning how to do it, it'll really be key for you to start earning more money and earning more dollars per hour, because you're going to understand where you need to go to get the right orders. And if you do that, then that's going to increase your income tenfold. So as far as what is the best app for you to use to do your dashing in, it is completely up to your marketplace. It is completely up to how well the company is marketed in that particular area. So go out there and try each one, spend a couple of weeks on it, and then start migrating them together so that you can get consistent orders. And whatever your best one is, whatever the one that makes you the most money per order and gives you the least amount of miles to do that on a regular basis, that is the best one for you. However, you have to keep the other ones as a backup, because every once in a while that cash cow that you have is going to turn the faucet off, and you're going to get very little orders, maybe for a couple hours, maybe for a whole day. but you're going to get very little orders during a period of time, and you're going to need those other apps to fill in that gap when you're not busy on your main one. So it's really important to find out what the best one is for your area, and it's really important to have other ones that are going to be there to be a backup for you, so that you can always have something to do even when they're slow. One other thing I want you to take into consideration is the time of the day. The busiest time on food delivery apps are always going to be centered around when people eat. That is breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night when there's people getting the munchies. So there's going to be times in between those key times that are going to be a little bit slower. And if you're working through those times, that's wonderful, that's great. You can still make a lot of money, but you're probably going to have to rely on more than one app to do that. So make sure you get out there and learn which app works in your marketplace, and make sure that you get out there and learn how to use each of the apps together so that it gets you the most money, because that's the bottom line. When you're out there dashing, you want to make sure that you're making the most money for you and your family. So hope this advice helps. Would really like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. I also would like to ask you to like the video, because the more likes I get, the more subscribers I get, the more people will see my content, and the more I'll be noticed on YouTube. So hope you enjoyed what I taught you today, and it was a basic lesson, but a very important one, which is why I started out with that. Thanks.